Hello, welcome to another Smart Success Story with HBXL. Today we're with Platinum Projects Europe Limited. Today we're going to be talking to them about Health and Safety Xpert. My name's Adrian Wild, I'm the MD of HBXL. I was a builder and property developer for around 25 years. I completed over 300 extensions and around 80 new houses, and we had to look after our health and safety over that time. Today we're going to be hearing from Steve Holt, a Group Health and Safety Manager for Platinum Projects Europe. He first purchased Health and Safety Xpert in 2014. We've recorded his interview in advance due to his busy schedule. The interview is with Adrian Wild, myself, and Ed Britton, HBXL's Business Support Manager.
Good morning, it's Adrian Wild here from HBXL. This morning we're really pleased that we've got Steve Holt here from who's a consultant working with Platinum Projects Europe as their Group Health and Safety Manager. Good morning, Steve. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Tell us a little bit about the work that you do and with the companies that you work with.
I'm currently in the role of Group Health and Safety Manager for Platinum Projects Europe, who are a construction company dealing with different types of contracts from multi-million-pound apartments to building supermarkets, stores, and a nature of other things. And I provide all the competent health and safety advice and produce all their paperwork for them.
Okay, so quite large scale work by the sound of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Ed, do you want to have a chat with Steve about the software now?
Yes, certainly. So, Steve, as we know, you're a fairly competent user these days of our Health and Safety Xpert software. When did you start using the software, and how long have you sort of been using it now?
I think this is our third year that we've had it now.
Sounds about right, that, yeah. And what made you choose the software in the first place?
Well, obviously I have to produce pre-construction information or construction phase plans, and the old system that I had was basically based on old documents, old Excel sheets, and each one having to change and adjust for each project, and obviously then make them site specific. And it was tedious and time-consuming, really.
How much time do you think it took prior to having the software to, as compared to now, do you think?
Well, depending on obviously the size of the project and the length of the project, obviously control the amount of paperwork required for the folders. But you could spend up to potentially a week gathering all the information and then producing all the different types of forms and information that you needed and trying to get all the latest information. So yeah, sometimes up to a week.
That's a big task, isn't it? How about now with the software? What does it take now?
Well, once you put in your all the information regarding the contractors and things like that, because it self-populates through and everything else, I can pretty much get a CPP folder completed within a day with all the information I need.
That's a huge saving in time, isn't it?
Time and resources, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just doing the maths here in my head that if you're paying yourself several £100 a day, and I don't know what a consultant costs these days, £400 or £500 a day, I guess. That sounds like a saving of 1,000 or two on each job.
Yeah, again, it's all dependent on the nature of the job. Some jobs are more complex, so there's obviously more time involved with regards to all the paperwork that's required. So it can go on, yeah.
Okay. So have you used any other software before? Sorry, Ed, I've taken over your question here.
That's fine.
I have used other software packages before, but they were like individually purchased packages that were supposed to ease the process of producing the folders. However, after using them for a period of time, like I say, you're still having to go in and manually adjust every single document with obviously the current site details and site-specific information, and so it attempted to make time and me more efficient, but in the long run, it didn't really.
All right, that's interesting. Okay. So what would you say are the best bits of the software then?
The fact that, like you say, you've got all the information to hand when you create a project from scratch, and the different types of projects that the software covers, from a bungalow build to a store refit to pretty much anything that's within that drop-down list.
Yeah.
And then, let's say you just got the population of your contractors and your key personnel. And again, on the opening page, you've got all the useful links for the HSC and everything else. So you've got everything literally on that one screen. And like I say, once you put the information in, it self-populates and generates onto all your cost assessments, your risk assessments, your method statements. They're already bespoke and site-specific because of the auto generation. So. Right.
Okay. So again, as we've said before, it's obviously saving lots of time. Okay. Prior to the conversation, you guys were just talking about CDM 2015. So I don't know whether you want to have discuss that a little bit between yourselves, Ed and Steve, for the benefit of the audience.
I suppose I do. Yeah. Yeah, as we were saying, you were saying, Steve, that obviously the onus now has sort of shifted over to the principal designer, certainly on a project where the designers are staying with the job from start to finish. I take it, obviously you can see how the software would help with that.
Oh yeah, it's like like say, because of everything sort of changing now, from the CDM coordinator roles at one time was responsible for all the provision of health and safety advice and everything else. Most of the principal designers that we spoke to and architects who are now taking on that role of obviously looking to say, well, we don't want to get involved in the health and safety because it's such a big thing and a specialised thing. So we're looking for consultants to still continue to provide all that information to them as they control the project. And obviously now with the new update that's just come out over the Health and Safety Xpert 2015, which includes a lot of the information and updates that are going to be required, it's already ahead of the game, obviously until everything's made official in October for 2015.
Right. So you say that the principal designer is now employing you. How long do you envisage that he will sort of stick with the job? Will he finish the drawings and then pass the ball to the contractor, or do you think he will be hanging on to it all the way through the job?
Well, his legal responsibilities are going to be for the job for the duration.
Right.
I think the emphasis if they've got their safety in design and safety in building in all the safety services throughout the project is going to remain as their designers or their architects. But when it comes to the actual health and safety of producing all the files, the documentation, the systems, ensuring the site's running correctly, that mantle's still going to be with construction design consultants to produce that document, provide it to the architect or principal designer, who will then obviously look at that and say, well, we need to ensure that the principal contractor that we employ is working to the standards that we require them to do so. So, yes, I definitely think they're going to have to continue holding that mantle until the job's finished.
So for me, this is one of our first thoughts when we saw the draft outline for CDM 2015 was that this new emphasis on the designers at the early stage, and our first thoughts are a lot of designers would not actually be aware of their responsibilities, what they would need to do. So for as you're saying, they're coming to you, but for some who would want to look at doing it themselves, the layout of Health and Safety Xpert 2015 is then going to give them that information that they may not previously had been aware of.
Yeah, I agree. If they want to take that mantle up and use a software package that will give them the information and ease the process, then the HBXL software will certainly do that. So I think the HBXL software can benefit everyone from the basic domestic contractor at the moment through to obviously their principal contractors and obviously now principal designers / architects.
Do you envisage that the principal designers will then be producing all of the same risk assessments and cost documents and so on, and passing those over to the contractor? Is that how it will function, or am I missing the point here?
In my opinion, I don't think that they're actually going to pass that information down. I just think they're going to be more aware of their legal responsibilities, and in the selection of the principal contractor, to ensure that they're compliant with all the legislation changes and regulation changes, as well as obviously managing the day-to-day health and safety of the project.
Right. So does that mean that the principal designer, if he's making a site visit, he has to be cognizant of the health and safety risks that are going on site and comment as he's going about his day, or how will that function?
Well, again, the principal designers, designers as they are now, and architects as they are now, usually visit sites on a regular basis anyway, and are obviously involved in day-to-day teething issues or problems that are developing throughout the project. They're going to have to be a lot more aware of the other goings on site, because technically they're responsible for that project and ensuring that the building is being constructed in a safe manner, but also ensuring that the principal contractor that they've employed is looking after the health and safety and well-being of all the people on site, and needs to know what they should be looking for anyway.
So it's a huge shift from the designer's perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's all. I think a lot of the designers have still said, well, we're going to continue to use you as consultants to provide the information to make it easier for them. Whether everybody will go down that road, I don't know. But like I say, if you're thinking of your software, again, it will fulfill all markets, I believe.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Going back to your initial use, how easy did you find getting into the software, Steve?
On the old version?
On any version, really.
Yeah, on the old version that we started with, again, it's absolutely simple to use and operate as a standalone feature. It was definitely far easier, the fact that you put the details in once and it's self-populated to other areas within the system. So that was quite good when it did that.
And learning it took you 20 minutes?
No, I'd say, wanting to get your head around it and understand it properly, as I like to do, it takes time to sort of get all that information together and learn where all the screens are and where all the documents are, and how within the risk assessment you get a generic risk assessment per se, but then have the options to make it more site-specific with the being able to change all the different parameters as well as the risk factors. So that took some time to get used to, but in the end, it's obviously proved itself to be a good piece of software.
Oh, excellent.
Just looping back to the CDM 2015, how do you feel it's going to impact on the domestic market with people doing home extensions and houses rather than the big stuff that you're working on?
I definitely think it's definitely going to have, obviously it's going to have an effect on them, because they're going to have legal responsibilities. And they're going to have to start to toe the party line, to say, by producing all the information required in the documents. But again, at the moment, it's my belief that not everybody out there is fully aware of all the 2015 changes and what that is going to entail. And again, especially with the domestic markets, people wanted the extension done on the back of the house, thinking that they can get a little one-man band in or a small company in to complete them works. They're going to need to have someone who's responsible when we've got more than one contractor. So if there's two contractors on site, somebody's got to become the principal contractor.
Yes, because as I understand it now, the domestic client in law now has far more responsibilities.
Yes, which he never had before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see how it impacts when we get some prosecutions going through over the next few months.
Yeah, well, I say at the moment we're currently in the trial stages, if you like, of April, and the actual CDM 2015 actually kicks in October. So I think after October, the HSE will obviously do a big round of unannounced visits targeting and looking at the domestic clients first and foremost, because they'll know that all the major contractors that are out there are already fulfilling that role quite well.
Yeah, yeah.
In essence, that's the core of the health and safety expert, is to supply a product for the small company for exactly the reason you said there, because the major contractors will always employ somebody like yourself, Steve, to make sure the health and safety is right, whereas the smaller companies, they don't have the turnover to have a full-time health and safety person working for them.
No, and you say with your software being priced the way it is, it's very attractive to the small or one man for family and son type business,
yep.
Right the way up to any other larger companies.
Yes, I mean, and certainly when we devised the software, we were focusing on the domestic market, and it's very interesting to see that it's being used on large-scale projects. As you say, if you're using the same software on multi-million-pound projects, that's very interesting to me to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, I've spoken with Ed on a number of occasions when we've been talking about would it be possible to incorporate, or is there a potential to incorporate other things within it? And he spoke at length with people that obviously work for your organisation that have managed to fine-tune it and put most of the requirements in there that I needed, certainly as doing my role.
Yeah, one of your suggestions is in the new version, Steve.
Yes, I know. It was nice to see that in there.
I hope that gave you a nice big smile. But I mean, that's one of the things that we're about. If we get good feedback from customers with good ideas, we always look to incorporate those into the software. Because if people in the field have got things they're coming across, then if you're coming across it, that means others are. So we're always looking to improve the software that way as well.
Yeah, I think the nice new suggestion I've got now would definitely be, if it was possible, is to incorporate toolbox talks within the document. And obviously, like I say, you've got the risk assessments and the cost. If there was a variety of the toolbox talks in there, which are obviously now going to be more fundamental, especially for the smaller domestic ones, it'd also assist them in a big way as well.
You're probably not aware of this yet, Steve, because we haven't yet announced it to the world, but we are producing a number of videos, our companions to the health and safety expert, that do give advice on a range of topics, such as asbestos awareness. Have you got a list of those at all in your mind, Ed?
I'm afraid no. I know there's about 10 or so, and they're designed to cover off a lot of the sort of basic areas, to give some of the sort of basic qualifications for users as well, so they can companies can actually have some of their staff trained up on some of the basic health and safety tasks, and actually have a recognised qualification from it as well.
Yes, so they're fully accredited. So, for argument's sake, in the case of the asbestos, which is one that I'm aware of, having done the course, you're accredited for that process. So we think that's going to be a very interesting development over the next few months.
Yeah, well, I currently am a UCATA instructor for asbestos training, and obviously now especially on refurbishments, it's still very much out there. It's very prevalent. So again, some good information for the domestic client that might not be fully aware of these regulations or rules under asbestos regs 2012. It'd be beneficial there as well.
That's interesting. You're saying, Steve, that there's obviously, because if you're instructing it's an arena you're familiar with, that there's still a lot of people coming across asbestos in domestic properties. Yeah,
well, I say current figures by the HSE saying that there's 4,500 people a year dying of asbestosis, or mesothelioma. But there's also what people are not knowing is that there's 500 females a year dying of the same diseases, purely and simply because their husbands are coming home with materials on their clothing and shaking it out before they wash it and things, or in that type of environment. So it's definitely out there, and it's definitely prevalent.
It's interesting that, as I'm sure we have all seen, the fatality figures are gradually falling due to health and safety legislation, and I think to a small extent to the likes of the software that we produce, because we get lots of feedback from people that tells us that it has changed their view on health and safety. To many people, it's seen as an irritation, but eventually the penny drops that actually it's not that difficult to work safely and make a real change to people's lives. So on that note, I think we've probably covered most of the ground, and unless you guys have any final wrap-up comments, and I think we'll let you get back on to your busy day, Steve.
Yeah, thanks very much. I'd say I can only endorse the fact that I bought this as one company, and have obviously passed the word on to other companies that I deal with about purchasing the software, because it like I say, it's a one-stop shop, and it does what it says on the tin. It provides you with everything that you legally require to run a site effectively and safely.
Great. That's a good finishing comment. Thank you very much, Steve and Ed.
So I hope you agree that was a very interesting conversation with Steve. It certainly taught me one or two things about how the health and safety is being managed on site today. So with Health and Safety Xpert, you can produce all of your documents in just a few minutes, taking the headache out of producing your health and safety information. To create your health and safety documentation, simply input the name and address of the job, tell the software the type of work that is being undertaken, or import the job from EstimatorXpress, and it will produce all the relevant documentation. The software will then prepare company health and safety policies, risk and cost assessment, site inspection documents, method statement, pre-construction info documents, and the health and safety file, and many more documents. Health and Safety Xpert 2015 is fully compliant with the new regulations and is fully compliant with CHAS. And when you import the software, you'll get annual supports and updates to ensure that the software is updated as the legislation is changed and interpreted by the various professionals. And remember, the software only costs a few £100, and it's massively cheaper than a fine and could save you a lot more than money. It could save someone's life or save somebody from serious injury. So, if you're interested in the software, why not give our sales team a call, or drop us an email and we'll give you a call. If you'd like to have a go trialing the software, give the support team a call and they'll get you set up, or again, drop us an email on the address